So I'm making this video just as we're getting news that Iran has carried out retaliatory strikes on the US in the Middle East on their military bases. And I've got to be careful on how I arrive at my points here, but I do think this is worth talking about. Last Tuesday, I made a video talking about how a protracted crisis in the Middle East could potentially mean that we will see an increase in the cost of living here in the UK. And I'm actually in the UK right now. And that video wasn't necessarily there to scaremonger or anything like that. It was literally just, covering some of the facts that I think it might happen if we see something really protracted. And this conversation is really going to be a pickup from there, to be honest, because what we're now seeing is we've, since that video, seen America bomb the Iranians' nuclear facilities, and now this retaliatory strike happening today. What happens next is going to be really, really important. Is Donald Trump going to take the gloves off, so to speak, and enter into full-scale conflict with Iran? And what do the domino effects of that look like? Who else is being pulled or could be potentially pulled into this conflict if this were the case? We're already hearing today that Trump is already parroting about regime change in Iran. And this feels like a repeat of the playbook from the Iraq invasion. Weapons of mass destruction, they go and invade. I think it was 1 million Iraqis lost their lives at that point. Military service people, US, lost their lives. Coalition forces lost soldiers. It feels like that playbook is playing over again. We're hearing rhetoric about assassination attempts on Trump being led by Iran and threats to their domestic security, weapons of mass destruction, in this case, nuclear weapons. And with the way this is now poised, what happens next is so important. Are we going to see restraint from the US? Are we going to perhaps see diplomacy come to the table? Are we going to see cooler heads prevail? Or are we going to see those who profit from there being a conflict in the Middle East, those that stand to make the most money, push this agenda even further? I pay attention to a lot of news, and the news narrative has changed, I would say, quite significantly over the past 3-4 days, just in terms of the terminology, the kind of coverage that is out there. And so my point is this for this video, I guess. If there is an escalation at this point, America goes back in bombs, Israel then steps up offensive. Is that the right word? Don't know. I'm not going to re-record this, so you know what I mean. If the Israelis step up the offensive, oh, that's the right phrase, against Iran, the UK obviously, because, well, we seem to be in lockstep with the Americans, we get involved. God knows who else gets involved. So Western allies get involved in this Middle East conflict. Will this pull in China? Will this pull in Russia? Will this pull in the wider region in the Middle East? These are high-stake questions and high-stake answers. And we've already had a lot this year. We've had, the tariff wars impact the stock market. Any conflict in the US, any conflict in the Middle East will rattle markets to start off with. They'll stabilize as they normally do, as they always do. But the uncertainty and the volatility, do we really need that? Again, is it just the playbook repeating itself for interest? And here's the crazy thing, and I think this is probably one of the biggest points that I do want to make. And I can see this being echoed in the chat, in the comments, maybe. But how is it, given where we are, and I'm speaking the US and the UK specifically here, how is it that given where we are, and particularly in the UK, we have a really poor economy, it's not performing, we are raising taxes, contemplating raising taxes even more later on this year, if rumors are to be believed. How can we afford to fight a war or be involved in an offensive in the Middle East? How? All the meanwhile, the NHS is suffering, public services aren't working, people feel as though the system isn't working for them, the middle class is getting squeezed, the lower class are getting smashed. How do we have money for this? And where are our priorities right now? Honestly, I don't have the answer to this. I'd love for you to tell me. Where are our priorities right now? Is this really a conflict that is absolutely necessary? And this leads into the political question, which I do not want to touch in this video. Don't want to touch it. Don't want to go near it. I don't want to espouse what I think, because we descend into chaos in that debate. But where are our priorities as a country? I mean, even in the US, the economy is a little bit better, but the American people did not vote or sign up for this. So why is there all of a sudden this bloodthirst to go to war with Iran? Why? Don't even get me started on Israel and everything that's going on there and how we actually got to this point. I said in the last video about this that, look, if this conflict is protracted, we are going to have pain in the UK, and it's already painful enough. Taxes are already high. The cost of living has already increased. It's not gone back down to where it was prior. It will never go back down to where it was prior. This will only make things worse. One of the options that Iran has apparently been speaking about and contemplating is closing the Strait of Hormuz. That would be a disaster for the global energy markets, which means you heating your home, the cost of you filling up your car, the cost of your weekly shop, all of that is going to go up. All of it is going to go up. Because we will potentially see, according to some of the professionals, if that happens, see the price of oil potentially hit $200 a barrel. Can you imagine? I don't really have any tips for this video, honestly. I've been watching this today and my mind is just, what is the world coming to? Honestly. You try to do the best that you can, but outside influences, outside factors, external factors feel as though they are putting pressure on you, making you feel as though you've got to work that little bit harder. This is where we are right now. And as I always say, control the controllables. You got to be smart right now. On a personal level, I'm in the UK right now. I've got to go back to Dubai next week, Wednesday. A lot of airlines are closing their routes there, cancelling routes, cancelling flights. I think the only advantage that I have personally is that I flew here with Emirates. I'm going back with Emirates, and that is Dubai's carrier, essentially. So hopefully I should be okay. At least fingers crossed, I hope I'm okay. But I still have my partner there. And there is a US base in the UAE. So I sincerely hope that we see calmer heads, cooler heads come to the table right now. Like right now. Because conflict is not what we want. It's not what I want to see. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Cheers.